You may want to grab a piece of paper and pen to take notes. I'm going to talk to you about choosing a website designer in Marin County to give you a little bit of information that will help you in knowing what talent to look for and what your company needs based on your current goals. So as you're thinking about looking for that right person to create your online presence, the most important thing is to know what platform would be best for you. Depending on if you are going to have a WordPress website, Squarespace, Shopify, that will determine who you're looking for because typically website designers and website developers specialize in one or two platforms. So let me help you try to work out what platform is best for you. There are many out there, but there are some main ones, and I'll just talk to you about those. The very, very basic level of website, if you have no budget and you just need to get something up, is you can actually create a free website on your Google My Business account. If you don't have a Google My Business account, then it's critically important that you create one. If you are an artist or a photographer, or maybe you do weddings, then I recommend taking a look at the Squarespace platform. Squarespace has beautiful templates that really focus on using your imagery to tell the story. They have a really amazing collection of fonts available. I recommend Squarespace if you are mainly looking for having an online portfolio and a way for people to make appointments with you. Now you'll need to connect a Calendly or some other third-party software that can manage your calendar. But that is pretty easy to do. Now, if you need something a little more complicated, let's say you want to start selling online, you're selling widgets, some kind of widgets. If you're doing your own shipping and you want to include some more advanced features, I recommend looking at Shopify. Shopify is completely set up for creating online stores. They also have a really great Facebook integration, as well as many other integrations that are really powerful, including a QuickBooks integration. If you have a restaurant or are thinking of opening a food-based business, then I highly recommend using Bento. They are completely set up for restaurants and food and beverage oriented businesses, and they will actually build the website for you. If you're a business where you need to have something like logins for your clients, or you need a lot of content, maybe you're going to have a blog and you're going to try to get traffic to your site by publishing blog articles, then I recommend going with WordPress. And you probably have heard of WordPress. It can do many things. It's very flexible. The initial setup of WordPress is very simple. What has happened is that programmers around the world have created add-ons called plugins that can do all kinds of really amazing things. There are some other things to consider when you're choosing your platform beyond just what the intended purpose will be. You also need to think about maintenance. When you use a platform like Squarespace, more likely than not, you'll be able to maintain it yourself. And the benefit of Squarespace is that very little needs to be done to keep it updated in terms of technology, because all of your content is on the Squarespace system. So as different requirements come up with the internet in general, you don't need to worry about that. With WordPress, the downside is that it does require maintenance on the back end in terms of keeping WordPress updated and the plugins and the various components that put it together. So if you are feeling like you don't have the bandwidth or the budget to pay someone to maintain your site, then I recommend considering Shopify or Squarespace. Or you can also take a look at Wix and Webflow. Those are two others that have become popular, although I don't recommend Wix because although I know they make it look really simple in their ads, it's actually very complicated building a site on Wix beyond just creating a few pages. Right? Hopefully you've sort of gotten an idea now in your mind of which platform might be right for you. So next comes finding that right person to build your website. And there are a few things that you want to consider when you are going out and looking at portfolios and trying to find that right person. So once you have your platform narrowed down to one or two, you can do a Google search for those particular platforms. You can also do a search locally. So I'm in Marin County, so in Marin County you would search for Marin Web Designer or Marin Web Developer. Something to keep in mind is that many website designers and developers don't do branding. They will need you to already have your logo and your color palette selected. So if you have that, great, you can go ahead and look for a designer or developer. If you do not yet have your logo or your brand colors set up, then you should look for specifically a brand designer or a website designer who provides those services. And a lot of times you may connect with a portfolio that you really like, and although they don't do branding, they will know of a designer that will be able to work with you. Just know that that's going to be an additional cost, and it's well worth it spending that extra time and budget on creating a logo and color palette that really represents you. So as you're looking for a web designer in Marin County, where I am, you want to take a look especially at the portfolios of the people that you find when you do your search. There are a lot of different styles, as you will see. Some people have a more corporate look. Some people have a more visually focused look. Some designers really have a creative, whimsical style. And so you need to really think about which style works best for you. And then pick a couple that you'd like to speak with and reach out to them and ask a few questions about how they work. Just have a conversation with them and see if you click or connect in that conversation. Because building a website can take 2 or 3 months, and it's important that you sort of connect well and communicate in the same style so that when you start getting into the details of your project, you're sure that you understand each other, and that you feel comfortable conversing with them about challenges or concerns that you might have. You want to make sure that they respond in a way that's comfortable for you. So after you've taken a look at their portfolios and you've picked a couple of people that you feel fits you and you've had those conversations, the next thing to look at is a budget. Now, some people are really surprised at how much it costs to build a website, and the cost can really vary depending on the details of the project. So what we offer at FutureBright is much more than just a website. We really are creating marketing systems. So even though on the surface you're just looking at a beautiful page, there's a lot going on in the back end. We make sure that you have a Facebook pixel and a LinkedIn pixel installed. We make sure that you have an opt-in that's created and working and collecting email addresses for you. We also typically have some kind of a CRM integrated, which means it's a third-party tool like Acuity, or there are many out there that will have a contact form on your site and then collect the information, and then you can use that CRM as you communicate further with your potential customer. We also make sure that your social media profiles are completely updated and integrated with your site. And there are a lot of other details that go into our packages. So that adds to the price, because that's basically woman hours, right? So when you're looking at the different costs that are presented to you, make sure you're looking at the details and make sure that what you need to promote your business will be in place at the end of the project, because if not, you'll need to have someone complete those other pieces, which will be an additional cost that wasn't part of that initial consideration. So that is my brief summary of how to find a web designer, and I hope that it was informative. If you are interested in talking to me about FutureBright and what we can do for you, I would be super happy to do that. And what sets us apart, I think, from the other designers in Marin County is that we really focus on imagery and photography. We love working with really beautiful images that create a sense of place for your business, so that your customers, when they come to your site, they can really understand who you are and visualize what it would be like to work with you. And then also that marketing system that we put in place on the back end of your site. I think that we do a really good job of making sure that you are prepared to really go anywhere with your business, because you'll have everything in place. Thank you for listening to the video, and I hope that you gained something from it, and I look forward to connecting with you at some point in the future.